Oh, all right. So welcome to All My Hack, all the way greetings from Australia. In this session, I'm going to talk about building a cybersecurity strategy, especially for CISOs. I'm currently working at Komodo Cybersecurity as CISO and Chief Cybersecurity Strategist. I'm pretty sure you came across my books. You can always find them across. And the surprise for today, if you want to be connected with me, those are my contact details. After the event, you can find me nearly everywhere in social media. And the surprise for today is, if you go ahead and tweet about the session with a screenshot or with feedback and tag me and all my hack conference, the most tweeted 5 tweets is gonna get a free ebook based on their choice. You can just, all what you have to do is tweet, tag me and on my conference and follow us, and promise 5 of you gonna win the book. All right, what is the agenda for today's talk? For me, it's already late. We all know there's 2 types of organizations. The ones they know they've been hacked and the ones they don't. In this session, I'm going to try to help you to understand why it's important to build a cyber strategy. As we all know, the world has changed. We are not in the same world that we were 2 years ago. Coronavirus has changed everything. Unfortunately, you are hearing what's happening in India, or most of the world is still struggling. The way we live, the way we communicate, the way we shake hands, the way we used to go to sports games, everything has changed. Can you imagine 2 years ago? Like, I just came from New York last Friday. Can you imagine 2 years ago you were in New York with a mask in the airport? Oh my God, they would just, the TSA, the security agents are gonna probably jump on you saying, hey, remove the mask. But today, if you go anywhere without a mask, you will get the same response. As I said, we are not shaking hands anymore. We are not hugging each other anymore. We have to keep social distance. We have to do things remotely. This applies for work as well as attending conferences. One more thing has changed, the way that we get hacked, especially in the banking industry. Banks used to get hacked or robbed through, remember, many years ago, money used to transfer by horses. The thieves used to stop the cars, the horses, to steal the money. Then I think it was 1931 when the first armed bank robbery happened in Europe, in Germany. Today, why should I buy a gun? Why should I risk myself going to a physical branch to steal $3,000? Because most of the branch, they don't have lots of money anymore. Instead, hackers are creating malware. They use the reverse engineering methods to reach out to the banks or to any other organization, hack and steal the money. So why do we need to have a cyber strategy or cybersecurity strategy? You were attending this wonderful session. You saw the technical details, right? Like what the heck exchange again, or you saw how DDoS attacks happens, or you saw the technical side of the sessions. And this is more compiling or adding into those sessions. You as a cybersecurity manager, as a CISO, or even as a red teamer, why you need to understand. As we all know, the threat landscape has changed a lot. When we look in the details, there is every 9 seconds a cyber incidents happening. There is no country in the world at the moment who didn't, unfortunately, taste the pain of hack. Doesn't matter if you're in a big and rich country such as Australia, or you could be in a poor country. Regardless where you are, unfortunately, hacking is happening. Those are some statistics. where hack happens mostly, and there are some other statistics how those hacks happening. But we all know most of the hacks that are happening either via phishing or via vulnerabilities or some 0 days. This can be categorized in many different aspects, but when you look at the attack vectors, unfortunately, based on published reports such as Verizon Data Breach Report or such as Komodo Threat Intelligence Report, we will see that even though the pattern changes, the main reason is still not changing. Ransomware is still on rise, or I call it cash collectors. As I said in the beginning of the sessions, there is two types of organizations. One, they know they've been hacked. Two, they don't. Going forward, there's going to be two types of organizations. One, they implement the right cybersecurity strategy and hire the right talent and hopefully stay secure. Two, they don't. Regardless where you work, how big your cybersecurity team is, or whatever your name badge is, you can get hacked. And happened just 3 months ago. The Solomons attack, the Solomon's attack. FireEye was hacked, and I truly respect how they. That's why I'm just giving the name, how they responded to the attack. But when we look in the root cause of the attack, it was, based on the CEO. Unfortunately, the company name is hidden within the password. The CEO blamed an intern to have a weak password such as Solomons123 without even looking at the mirror. A CEO is number one person who's responsible for cybersecurity, who is responsible to hire the right talents and ensuring there is a cybersecurity strategy. Understanding the business by itself is not enough anymore. Understanding the dynamics by itself is not enough anymore. So, why is cybersecurity important? I think we don't have to talk about that. You all know why it's important. You watch all the sessions, and regardless, as I said, which industry you are, you can get hacked as the attackers keep evolving. There is a beautiful caricature which you can read yourself. The important thing here, what we have to understand is to stop a hacker, we have to think like a hacker. Okay, how is this going to happen? Honestly, the answer lies in the past. And I keep saying that to understand, to build better future, we have to always look at the back, at the past. And Shen Chu wrote this in his book nearly 2,500 years ago. He said, if you know your enemy and you know yourself, you don't have to fear of the result of 100 battles. If you know yourself, but you don't know the enemy, then there is a red zone. You have to know the enemy, you have to know yourself, and you have to know the attack ground. In other terms, you have to know your assets. With your assets, I mean everything A to Z in your organization. You have to know the technology that you're using. And based on the industry that you are in, you have to have a proper threat intelligence or partners who can help you to be more secure. And this includes your own assets, your team as well. How do the hackers think? Most of the time, they're sophisticated. They always look for an attack vector they can be successful. And in most cases, they look for the weakest link. In other terms, the easiest way to attack. Don't forget, hackers are human as well. They are lazy as we are. They want to, they're focused on their orientation. All what they want is to go in, get what they need, and get out. When we look at the most successful attacks, as I said again, most of the time they leverage known vulnerabilities or misconfiguration attacks, and unfortunately, social engineering attacks. I'm not just saying that. And Komodo is by itself not just saying that. Look at Verizon Data Breach Report. you will see the same thing. One other thing which you have to keep in mind, that noise is the attacker's best friend. They usually try to divert your attention somewhere else, by creating some fake noise to get to their main aim, to main target. And they usually try to identify assumptions that security depends on. You know, it's important to think outside of the box, regardless where you work, regardless what you do. You have to keep one more thing in mind. Hackers are using the same technology that you are using. I mean, they are not living in 2050, or they are not coming from space. They have similar technology. Most of the time, they have better budget than you, but they still have a budget. They have an organizational structure. They are not much smarter than you are, believe or not. I mean, to hack a password, SolarWinds 123, what cybersecurity skills do you need? Company name, 123. Honesty, you don't even need to do a brute force attack. This is probably the first thing that everybody is trying. And end of the day, they perform a job as well. The difference between them and us defenders is the attackers has to find one successful pattern to hack you, where you have to depends on your organization. You have to defend thousands, if not tens of thousands assets, or you have lots of people, or you have lots of partners, or the hackers have to be only successful at one. But the attackers must get everything right to be successful, where we as defenders can be stop rest of the attack if we can detect one part of the attack. Or most of the time, as I said, most of the attacks still come into your organization through phishing. They run some sort of malware. And we have lots of technical people here. You watch many sessions. If you look at the session's details, there is one important thing. Every malware or every attack vector which enters into the system has some sort of rights. If your defending system can remove that right, then you should be able to be more secure. But let's talk about this in a different way. First of all, we have to practice thinking like an attacker. For every system that you interact, you should have a special glasses that will give you the ability to look from a different aspect on how you can secure it. In other terms, if this is you need to hack, you have to look, if this is what you need to secure, you have to look from a different perspective on saying, how would a hacker hack the system? All right, they will use passwords, they will use, they will try to see if there is a sort of protection, and etc. When it comes to defending, the best thing is, and this is the session topic, to build a cybersecurity strategy. What is a cybersecurity strategy? A cybersecurity strategy is a plan for managing organizational security risk according to a defined risk tolerance. So, regardless how technical you are, if you don't do the basic of a risk management, a risk tolerance, risk acceptance, then you cannot go ahead and protect your organization. One important thing for all of you is that regardless in which industry you are, if you don't understand the business, unfortunately, you cannot protect it. Honestly, look, one of the main sponsors, Standard Chartered Bank, I was just a proud member till 2 weeks ago, which I moved ahead to Komodo. And before Standard Chartered, I never worked for a bank. I was the regional CISO, being based in Dubai. Now I'm back in Australia. And my first 90 days was understanding banking industry, banking technology, because I knew this was the best way to work with teams such as Cezary, who's in Poland, and I know he speaks in this conference a lot, or with my teams in other countries to secure my region. This is just a small example what you need to do as a first step. The goal of your cybersecurity strategy should not be to make security as possible. Instead, you have to have security as necessary. It is really, really important. You know, we always say there is no 100% security. You have to always expect attacks, not accept. So then why do you want to secure everything and anything? Instead, you should put security, of course, you should secure everything and anything, but as much as necessary. It's important to have a tactic, because a strategy without a tactic is usually the slowest route to victory. And again, Sanchu said this nearly 2,500 years ago. I spoke about risk tolerance. So how should be your risk tolerance? You should have a goal, and the goal should be delivered as much as security as needed, as I said a few seconds ago. As needed depends on organization's risk tolerance level. It depends on whatever industry you're in. You have to ensure that your business should not have too many workarounds. I mean, when I used to work at Microsoft the first time I started, I used to go to some organizations where we used to have extremely strict security configuration in a military, for example. Then when we used to do gap assessment, I used to see that, hey, you have this beautiful security system built, but why do you have this port open, or why do you have this service installed, or why do you have this workaround? Oh yeah, it didn't work, and we had to do this to enable that. I'm like, okay, but then what is the purpose of having the strategy built like this? Why you are not redefining the security strategy based on what you have? Too little loss tolerance means, unfortunately, a lot of cyber incidents. So what is right for your organization? As I said, you need to develop a cybersecurity strategy, and this cybersecurity strategy should end up with a mix of point solution on an ad hoc basics. Basically, you're increasing complexity and cost of support. Therefore, not optimizing your investment and thinking about both implications. Again, it's really important to understand that cybersecurity often comes last and if often seen as hindering the business. So what you have to do first is change the business mindset. And organizations, they have talents, they don't understand the business, unfortunately, is not going to have the right cybersecurity strategy. Remember, I said that 2 seconds ago, my first 90 days in the banking industry was trying to understand the banking industry as much as possible. I mean, before that at Microsoft, I was a technology guy. I was in a technology company. Right now, I work at Komodo Cybersecurity as group CISO. Honestly, I don't have to understand the business, but instead, I'm trying to understand the customers, the customer profiles, and what we have internally to give the best as a strategist to our customers, and as a CISO to ensure that we are not becoming another X company who was hacked. Remember a few minutes ago, I said FireEye was also hacked through a third-party supply chain attack. So why not have lesson learned to increase security posture for everything, for everyone? A cybersecurity strategy, again, perfect security is not practical or possible. As I keep repeating myself, a cybersecurity strategy or security should be business risk driven. And when it comes to optimal level, you need to invest. You have to get the board's investment or support that can invest at you to attend conferences like this, for example, to learn the latest attack techniques, or to be part of the capture of the flag attacks, to learn how you can. I mean, this is a great simulation environment which you can learn and take it back to your organization. Instead of learning in real life from real hackers, having simulations like that, it's always a plus. And I keep repeat this regardless of which organization I work. The organizations, they don't invest in their talents, unfortunately, are there to lose. What are the security constructs that you need to define? First of all, a security strategy, as I said again in the beginning, is a plan for managing organizational security risk. It all depends on the defined risk tolerance, which meets your business or organization. Then you have to build a proper security architecture. What will this security architecture providing you? It will have an overview of the recommended architecture, implementation technology, choices to build IT security solutions. Remember, many years ago, the best security solution was to have two firewalls in your organization. But then hackers discovered a way to use just port 80. Or then years ago, people used to think that, hey, I have to be on-prem. Being on-prem will make me more secure. Hackers started to use different attack vectors to reach on-prem targets, client-side attacks, server-side attacks, or if you remember the Stacknext, USB drop attacks, social engineering attacks, so you don't have to even be connected. Then people decided, oh, let me move to the cloud. I'm going to be secure. Yes, COVID showed that being in the cloud is necessary. If you didn't complete your digital transformation, then most probably you suffered during COVID, especially during the lockdowns. So cloud is a must, but just depending on cloud provider will make you vulnerable, because in cloud, security is a shared responsibility. What I'm trying to say is you have to have a security plan which defines your actions, your initiatives, your projects, your resources, your timelines, and all of them have to be reached to desired state defined by your security architecture. Understanding the business is also key, as I said, and I'm repeating myself on this because everything what you do has to be also enabler to the business. You cannot just block anything. The security triangle that you learned in your early days when you start IT. If something is too secure, is most probably less functional or harder to use. If it's too easy to use, is most probably too hard. You have to find the right level. Something has to be secure, as well as easy to use and functional. Blocking everything is not going to be a solution. Allowing everything is definitely not the right way. So once you understand the business, once you know who's after your business, once you know your risks, once you know your potential way of losing your business, basically your CIA, your confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Once you have a proper risk tolerance, then you will know your crown jewels, you will know your attack vectors, you will understand your threats, you will understand the risk. And this is basically why a proper, so you see the risk equals threat times vulnerability times assets. And in this case, risk is defined as potential loss. So what is a good or future-proof cybersecurity strategy? Once you identify all your key challenges, then you're going to be a step ahead. There is lots of frameworks that you can use. The NIST, the European Union framework, security framework, or the Australian framework, or honesty, they are all very similar. Pick one. This could be ISO, this could be COVID, this could be, you name it. Pick one, try to get aligned. Don't forget, those are standards which will give you a perfect guideline. And you mapping your security to this guideline will help you to understand the big picture. Once you coordinate the actions, this will help you to address challenges. And continuously monitoring those and adapt the latest defense methodologies will be helping you to get a step ahead. One thing I learned in the field is while I was at Microsoft, that at Microsoft I had the opportunity to visit lots of customers. In 1 week, sometimes I used to see 2-3 customers. And at my previous role at Standard Chartered, I had the opportunity to work in depth in a financial organizations to work with teams in a global bank with multiple different teams to understand the structure. One thing in my previous years in my professional career, I learned that having too many security solutions is never the solution, or just relying on one vendor is never the right solution. Example, having 50 security solutions means, especially if they're not connected to each other, you have to have 50 different updates of software, 50 different training, 50 different budget, 50, this is all different aspects, which is going to make your focus a bit more, which is going to make your focus, which is going to, oh my God, I cannot speak anymore, which is going to give you difficulties on focusing. So I'm not saying just have one, but the more you have, it's not going to make you more secure. The other thing, as I said earlier again, investing in your talent, creating an awareness program is really important as well. Example, awareness program has to be customized depending on different business units. The example for this I always give, let's say you want to buy a shoe. Or you want to buy a laptop, let's give a technical example. There is a laptop for $200, a Chromebook, and there is a laptop like my one that I'm using at the moment with great GPU, with great CPU, with lots of RAM and lots of storage. So one of them is $200 and the other one is, let's say, $5,000. Which one is the best one? The cheaper one or the more expensive one? So how are you going to define that? Same thing applies to cybersecurity training or awareness. If you go and talk to your board all about, as Camille, for example, explained in his session this morning, deep technical, the board's going to say, hey, what are you talking about? Or if you go to IT department and you talk to the board, they're going to say, hey, what's happening? So it's your job, doesn't matter where you sit, to align the right language. And look, doesn't matter what you do. You could be a red teamer, or you could be a sysadmin, or you could be a COO or CEO, or just an end user. We are all part of the same team, which is security. Security is everybody's responsibility. So you have to dream and aspire. What do I mean with that? You have to define the aspirational state of security that's mapped into your business objectives and goals. This means you have to have requirements versus solutions. Solutions will usually help you to achieve requirements. They are likely to be more than one possible solution. Uh, a solution is not always just software. A solution is not just, for example, clustering, or a requirement is not just preventing unauthorized access. You have to combine sometimes. It's like when you need to cook, let's say you don't have, you open the fridge, you don't have enough ingredients to cook one food, food from one ingredients. There is many different foods that you can use different ingredients, and depending on your skills, I mean, if it's up to my own cooking skills, then you're most probably going to stay hungry or call McDonald's to deliver your food. But for a good chef, you can just get a great food with cooking a bit of everything. Now, back to cybersecurity strategy. Once you put all these aspects together, you have then you can review what you have currently. You can look at what elements are still relevant. Does it still address all the revised security goals? Do you need to add anything? Do you need to remove anything? In other words, PDCA. What do I mean with this? You have to plan. You have to do your plan. You have to act into your plan. When the time comes, PDCA, you have to change your plan, maybe PDCA, and you have to act on the changes as well. And this is a continuous process. And this comes from ISO 27001, for example, from the ISMS Information Security Management System. The other recommendation to defend for me or to build a proper cybersecurity strategy is going to be saying, be ready for a cyber attack. Look, if you know, for example, I'm gonna hit you right now. You cannot see. Here we go. If you know I'm gonna hit you, I'm gonna punch you. What will you do? You will most probably protect yourself. So if you know that hackers are after any business, why not implement defense in depth strategy? Why not use MFA? Why not use sites like Have Been Found, my great Australian friend Freud Hunt's website, to ensure that the passwords the password which is used in your organizations are not leaked before. Coming to a conclusion, you cannot defeat the threats of the present with the tools from the past. Coming to a conclusion, not having a cybersecurity strategy is like sleeping in a high crime city with open doors in your house, well, especially when you have lots of assets, lots of valuable assets. In summary, to be successful, you have to understand the cybersecurity landscape. You have to assess your cybersecurity maturity. You have to determine how you can improve your cybersecurity program, and you have to document all of these. I know documentation is not what you most probably love, but it's a key, especially if you want to be part of the framework and get certified on the framework. So please keep in mind, cybersecurity is not just the CEO's or CISO's responsibility. I gave the example of Solomon's. Blaming an intern, is not going to make you a successful CEO. It's everybody's job to build a cybersecurity culture that everyone in the organization understands cyber risks and help you to mitigate them. It's like the laptop example I gave. There is no one laptop which fits for everybody's needs. A laptop, $200, the Chromebook, for example, can be good for students. They need to only connect to the internet, or for pensioners, they need to connect just to the internet, where having a GPU can be good for gaming, or having lots of processing power can be good for graphics. So there is no one fit laptop to everybody. Same applies to cyber awareness training. There is no one fit awareness to everybody. We have to make it relevant on the people. So I'm coming slowly to end of my session. Just a kind reminder, if you go ahead and tweet about the session, you can win one of 5 books or any of my books. If you want to be in touch, these are my connection details. And I know I did not cover deep technical content in this session, but don't forget, if you don't have a cybersecurity strategy, doesn't matter how deep you are, or doesn't matter how strategic you are, you cannot be successful. Everything depends on your risk maturity, and it goes hand by hand. With this, I'm coming to end of my session again. Thank you very much. Back to the stage. Do we have any questions?